When we talk about fighting like a wolf, we're not talking about aggression or chaos. We're talking about a mindset, a mentality forged through adversity, sharpened through discipline, and sustained by purpose. Wolves are not solitary creatures. They thrive in packs. They are structured, strategic, and fiercely loyal. In the wild, they survive not just by strength, but by instinct, by unity, and by relentless will. And just like the wolf in life, you don't overcome your battles with talent alone. You overcome them by embracing the process, honoring the struggle, and showing up every single day, regardless of how you feel. In life, many people want to win. They want success, fulfillment, growth. But wanting something isn't the same as being willing to do what it takes to earn it. A lot of folks talk the talk, but when adversity comes, when life punches them in the mouth, they fall back into comfort. They look for a way out. But those who fight like wolves, they don't seek comfort. They seek growth. They don't make excuses. They make adjustments. They understand that life doesn't owe them anything, and every step forward must be earned through consistency, discipline, and pain. There's no shortcut, no magic formula, just a mindset. The wolf mentality is built in the dark, when no one's watching, when the praise is absent, when it's just you and your goals. The people who succeed at the highest level are the ones who master the mundane. They don't rise and fall with emotions. They don't depend on external motivation. They show up when it's boring. They stay focused when it's lonely. They execute when it's inconvenient, because they know deep down that greatness is not a moment, it's a commitment. It's not about what you feel like doing, it's about what needs to be done. Sometimes life's going to hit you hard. That's guaranteed. You're going to fail. You're going to face disappointment. People will doubt you. Circumstances will seem unfair. But those are the moments that separate the wolves from the sheep. The ones who break down and stay down. And the ones who take that pain, that pressure, that fire, and use it. Turn it into focus. Turn it into hunger. Turn it into fuel. Wolves know what it means to suffer, but they also know how to endure. They don't fear the fight. They embrace it because they know that every battle, every challenge, every storm is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, more resilient. This mentality doesn't come naturally. It has to be chosen. Every day you wake up and you choose it. You choose to keep going when it hurts. You choose to push when everything you say stop. You choose to believe in yourself even when the odds are stacked against you. And over time, you become something different. You become dangerous, not because you talk loud or show off, but because you're disciplined, focused, and unshakable. You become someone who can't be rattled by failure, who isn't moved by opinions, who isn't defined by the highs and lows of life. You become the kind of person others depend on, look up to, and trust. That's what fighting like a wolf is all about. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't just survive storms, but grows stronger in them. The kind who understands that everything you're going through is molding you into the person you were created to be. You don't quit when it's hard. You dig deeper. You don't panic when the pressure rises. You stay calm. You don't run from the fire. You walk through it. Not because it's easy, but because there's purpose in it. Because there's power in the process. Because you know that what's on the other side of pain is greater than anything you've left behind. There's something powerful about pressure. Something about it reveals who we truly are. It exposes our habits, our mindset, and our level of commitment. Most people run from pressure. They avoid it. They pray it away. But people who fight like wolves, people who are wired different. They understand something critical. Pressure is not punishment. Pressure is preparation. It's the test that separates the ones who are committed from the ones who are just curious. It's the fire that refines you, not the storm that destroys you. It's the environment where greatness is either exposed or extinguished. When you're under pressure, your instincts take over. And if you haven't prepared in the dark, you'll fold in the light. That's why wolves train. They sharpen their senses not for applause, but for survival. The pressure of life will come, no doubt about it. The loss will come. The failure will show up. The expectations will feel heavy. But that pressure isn't there to stop you. It's there to shape you. It's there to elevate you. It's there to teach you that your next level isn't unlocked by talent or talk. It's unlocked by perseverance. By pushing through, not around. You can always tell who's trained and who hasn't when pressure shows up. Some people get loud and emotional. Others get still and focused. Wolves get surgical under stress. They don't panic. They prepare. They don't guess. They grind. The reason some people never break through is not because they don't have the potential. Because every time pressure hits, they tap out. They point fingers. They retreat to comfort. But you can't grow in comfort. You can't lead from fear. You can't become what you're meant to become if you run every time life tightens the grip. The ones who thrive are the ones who lean in when it gets hard. They don't see pressure as a threat. They see it as a signal that growth is near. That transformation is around the corner. That breakthrough is on the line. Pressure is also the great revealer of your why. If your why isn't strong enough, the pressure will break you. That's why it's never just about goals. It's about purpose. Because purpose gives pain a place. Purpose gives pressure a reason. When you know why you're doing what you're doing, the how becomes manageable. Wolves aren't fighting just for survival. They're fighting for the pack, for the legacy, for the future. That's the mindset you have to carry when the world gets heavy. You have to remind yourself what's at stake. You have to dig into your convictions and pull strength from a source deeper than convenience. In pressure moments, everything slows down. The crowd gets quiet, the distractions disappear, and it's just you and the choice of fold or fight. And fighting doesn't always look like swinging wild. Sometimes fighting looks like staying disciplined when it would be easier to give in. Sometimes fighting looks like showing up day after day with no praise, no spotlight, no guarantee. Sometimes fighting looks like keeping your character intact when nobody else would notice if you slipped. That's what wolves do. They fight with focus, with patience, with principle. There will always be people who fold under pressure and say, it wasn't meant to be. But wolves don't think like that. Wolves say, this pressure, this moment, this weight, it's mine. They embrace it, they carry it, and they grow because of it. The challenge isn't whether you'll face pressure. It's whether you'll rise through it, whether you let it mold you into the person you were created to be, whether you allow it to deepen your discipline, sharpen your focus, and stretch your capacity. Because once you stop seeing pressure as something to avoid and start seeing it as a gift, everything changes. Your pace changes, your posture changes, your power rises. And when that happens, you stop reacting to life and start leading it. The thing about wolves is that they never operate without awareness. They move with intentionality. Every step they take is calculated, every action rooted in instinct, sharpened over time. In life, many people walk around distracted, aimless, letting circumstances dictate their direction. But people with a wolf mentality live with vision. They aren't just existing, they're pursuing. They're not waiting for opportunity, they're preparing for it. Vision is what sets a wolf apart from the rest of the world. It's not about what you see with your eyes, it's about what you believe in your spirit, even when your reality doesn't match it yet. When you have vision, your steps become intentional. You stop wasting time, energy, and attention on things that don't move you toward your purpose. You stop needing validation from people who don't understand the mission. Wolves don't look for applause, they look for alignment. They're not out to please everybody, they're out to fulfill the assignment. When you know where you're going, you start moving different. You start choosing different. You stop settling for what's easy and start chasing what's meaningful. You start living by principle, not pressure. Vision gives you the power to say no to distractions. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your purpose, you say no to something that does. Wolves understand that. They understand sacrifice. They know that the path to greatness requires tunnel vision. Focus isn't just a skill, it's a lifestyle. And in a world full of noise, it takes discipline to stay locked in. People will try to pull you off your path. Life will test your attention. But if you lose sight of the vision, you lose your direction. Vision is the internal compass that keeps you moving forward when everything around you feels like chaos. That vision has to come from within. You can't borrow it from someone else. It's not something someone can hand you. It's something you've got to find for yourself. It comes from prayer, reflection, and asking yourself hard questions. Who am I becoming? What am I building? What do I want to be remembered for? If you don't take time to answer those questions, life will answer them for you. And often the answer won't be one you're proud of. Vision doesn't make life easier, but it gives every struggle meaning. Wolves aren't driven by convenience. They're driven by conviction. They wake up with purpose because they've decided that their life is too valuable to be wasted on autopilot. There's a difference between motion and progress. A lot of people are busy, but they're not effective. They confuse activity with achievement. Wolves don't run in circles. They move with clarity. They know when to rest, when to attack, when to wait. That's what vision provides, wisdom and motion. It doesn't just tell you where to go. It helps you understand when and how to get there. When you're fueled by vision, failure doesn't destroy you. It teaches you. Setbacks don't break you. They build you because your vision isn't about the moment. It's about the mission. Sometimes when you have big vision, you'll feel misunderstood. You'll feel isolated. People will question your path. But that's okay. Not everyone was built to see what you see. That's why it's your vision. That's why wolves don't explain their hunger. They just hunt. You don't need permission to chase what God placed in your heart. You don't need agreement to move forward in your calling. What you need is consistency, faith, and the courage to stay locked in when the distractions get louder. Vision keeps you grounded when success tempts you and focused when failure discourages you. It helps you say no to what's good so you can say yes to what's great. It anchors your purpose in something deeper than circumstances. And in the silence of discipline, when no one's watching, that's where the vision grows. That's where it takes root. That's where the wolf sharpens its purpose and prepares for the next step. There comes a time in every person's life when they must choose between who they've been and who they're called to become. Growth is not accidental. It is intentional. Wolves understand that comfort is a slow death, staying where it's safe, doing what's familiar, living inside the lines others drew for you that might keep you alive, but it'll never help you thrive. The wolf is not the strongest animal in the wild, nor the biggest, but it adapts. It evolves, it grows. That's what sets it apart. Growth doesn't happen because you want it. Growth happens because you're willing to endure the tension it brings. You can't grow and stay the same. That's the lie people believe, that they can hold on to old habits, old attitudes, old environments, and still reach new levels. But growth demands something from you. It costs. You've got to give up excuses. You've got to sacrifice ego. You've got to confront your patterns and ask, Are they serving me or sabotaging me? Most people say they want change until change shows up wearing the face of discomfort. Growth isn't a feel-good process. It's a stretching process. It pulls on your mindset, your discipline, your beliefs. But in that stretch is where strength is developed. Wolves don't fear the process of becoming. They embrace it. They know that growth doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes growth looks like breaking down, like being stripped of what's unnecessary, like failing forward. That's the price of elevation. The reason some never grow is because they won't let go. They're too attached to how things used to be. But wolves don't cling to what's behind them. They keep their eyes forward. They know that growth doesn't dwell in yesterday. It's only found in the decision you make today. You grow every time you choose discipline over distraction. Every time you choose faith over fear. Every time you move forward, even when you don't feel ready. One of the most misunderstood aspects of growth is that it's not always visible. Just because people don't see your transformation doesn't mean it's not happening. Growth is often quiet, private. It happens in the dark before it shows up in the light. The roots grow before the fruit appears. Wolves don't need a crowd to grow. They just need commitment. Real growth doesn't chase validation. It chases progress. It's not about proving people wrong. It's about proving yourself right. That's why wolves are dangerous, not because they talk loud, but because they evolve in silence. Growth also means becoming accountable. You stop blaming, you stop reflecting, you stop pointing fingers and start owning your life. You take responsibility not just for where you are, but where you're going. That's a hard shift to make because it removes the safety of victimhood. But wolves aren't victims. They're victors. They know that nothing changes unless they change. So they study their mistakes. They learn from the pain. They make adjustments. They take what broke them and use it to build something stronger. That's growth, taking the lessons, not the bitterness, carrying the wisdom, not the weight. You won't always feel yourself growing. Some seasons will feel quiet, even stagnant. But just because it's not happening fast doesn't mean it's not happening. Wolves are patient with the process because they trust it. They don't rush greatness. They understand that growth is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong pursuit. Every day is another opportunity to sharpen the blade, to stretch a little further, to lean a little deeper into purpose. Growth isn't glamorous, but it's worth it. It's the difference between potential and power, between a life of regret and a life of impact. It's choosing to become the person you were created to be, not the person life tried to shape you into. It's a daily battle, but one worth fighting. Courage isn't always loud. It doesn't always show up with fireworks or fanfare. Sometimes courage looks like showing up when you're tired. Sometimes it looks like doing the right thing when no one is watching. Sometimes it means standing alone when everyone else takes the easy way out. Wolves move with courage, not because they have no fear, but because they've trained themselves to move forward in spite of it. That's what real courage is, not the absence of fear, but obedience in the face of it. Courage doesn't wait for clarity. It acts from conviction. It trusts what the heart knows even when the mind doesn't understand. So life will present you with moments where you'll either rise or retreat. These are defining moments not because they're loud, but because of what they demand from you. Courage is forged in the unseen. It's built in silence, and it's proven when you're tested. Most people want confidence before they take the step, but wolves know confidence is built after you take it. Action produces courage. You can't grow brave reading books or listening to speeches. At some point, you have to look fear in the eye and say, I'm moving anyway. I don't need to feel ready. I need to be willing. Courage also means confronting what's inside you before you try to conquer what's outside. The most dangerous battles you'll fight are internal. The doubts, the insecurities, the unhealed pain. You can't fake your way through those. And if you don't face them, they'll show up in your choices, your relationships, your leadership. Wolves confront themselves daily. They go to war with their weakness. They acknowledge it. They study it. They strengthen it. That's not ego. That's honesty. That's courage to admit you've got work to do and then do the work. Even when no one is clapping, there's a reason wolves aren't afraid to walk alone, because they're not driven by popularity. They're driven by purpose. Sometimes courage means being misunderstood. Sometimes it means disappointing others to stay true to yourself. You can't serve your calling and please everyone at the same time. At some point, you have to choose. Will I live small to make others comfortable, or will I stand tall and walk the path I was built for? Wolves walk that path even when it's narrow, even when it's steep. Not because it's easy, but because they've accepted that comfort was never the goal. Calling was when you walk with courage, you stop making excuses. You stop waiting for the perfect time. You realize that fear never fully goes away. It just loses power the more you move. Every small act of bravery stacks on top of the next until eventually you look back and realize you're not who you used to be. That's the quiet miracle of courage. It transforms you while you're too focused to notice. You stop needing external validation. You stop trying to prove something. You stop trying to be impressive and start trying to be impactful. Wolves don't care about approval. They care about results. They know what's at stake. They know who's counting on them. And they choose courage even when it costs. Fear will always offer you a way out. It will whisper lies. You're not ready. You're not good enough. You'll fail. But courage has a voice too. It says, keep going. It says, you've come too far to stop now. It says, there's purpose in this pain. There's meaning in this moment. Wolves listen to that voice, the one that reminds them who they are, the one that doesn't flinch when the pressure rises, because courage isn't built in comfort. It's built in conflict, in discomfort, indecision. And every time you choose courage over fear, you become stronger, sharper, more rooted in who you're meant to be. Commitment is the bridge between desire and achievement, the relentless pursuit that turns dreams into reality through sacrifice, discipline, and unwavering focus. When you commit fully to your purpose, you choose a path that demands daily effort and consistency, even when external circumstances try to shake your resolve. It is not a decision made lightly, for commitment requires you to stand firm in the storm and hold fast to your vision despite uncertainty, setbacks, and the voices that tell you to quit. The essence of true commitment lies in the ability to keep going without apology, to push forward even when the outcome is not guaranteed, and to embrace the hard work required to transform potential into success. Every journey toward greatness is marked by moments when the easiest path is to abandon hope. Yet commitment steels you to face those very moments with courage and determination. It teaches you that the value of a goal is measured not by its ease, but by the persistence you bring to it. In the quiet hours when no one is watching, commitment is forged in the sweat of early mornings and the stillness of long nights. It is built on a foundation of small, consistent action that accumulate over time, making the seemingly impossible gradually become your new reality. The act of choosing commitment over convenience is a declaration that you believe in a higher calling, that you are willing to weather temporary discomfort for lasting triumph. Commitment also transforms the way you interact with failure. Instead of viewing setbacks as permanent roadblocks, you begin to see them as essential feedback in the process of growth. When you are truly committed, each mistake is an invitation to refine your strategy, to learn more about your strengths and areas for improvement, and to adjust your approach without losing sight of the ultimate goal. It is a dynamic process in which every challenge adds to your experience and deepens your resolve, turning moments of doubt into opportunities to reaffirm your purpose. In this way, commitment is not static. It evolves as you do, adapting to new circumstances while holding fast to the core values that propel you forward. The journey of commitment is rarely a solitary one. It often requires the support of a community that shares your ideals or the guidance of mentors who have traversed similar paths. This network reinforces your belief in your mission and offers perspective during times of uncertainty. Surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to maintain your integrity and encourage you to stay the course is integral to sustaining commitment over the long haul. Yet, while external influences can inspire you, the true test of commitment lies in your internal resolve. It is a personal covenant, a promise you make to yourself each day that you will not waver or compromise on what you know is right, regardless of the obstacles you face. The process of being truly committed is continuous and demanding, calling for honesty about your intentions and a willingness to confront both your limitations and your strengths head on. This level of dedication shapes your character in profound ways, forging a resilience that becomes evident not just in your achievements, but in your ability to recover from adversity. In living with commitment, you begin to understand that every moment of perseverance, every sacrifice made in silence, contributes to a legacy that is far more meaningful than the fleeting satisfaction of transient success. It is a transformative experience that not only elevates you, but also inspires those around you, creating a ripple effect of purpose and determination that can transcend individual ambition. For anyone on the path of self-improvement and relentless pursuit of a dream, the choice to commit fully is the difference between settling for what is and striving for what could be. As you continuously invest in your journey through daily acts of discipline, you learn that commitment is about giving everything you have in service of a vision, embracing both the struggle and the growth that come with it, and never allowing the fear of failure to diminish your resolve.